What's up, everyone? Welcome back to InCamp Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Hepler. This is the show where we talk all hunting, all fishing, all the hard-earned lessons that keep us coming back season after season. And this is the one where we learn about those hard-earned lessons because I have a friend on. He's been hunting for 3 years now. And man, do we tell some really fun and actually pretty comical stories in this one. And Dan finally shot his first deer this year. So you'll get to hear a little bit about that. And you'll get to hear about the very first deer hunt I ever took him on. And we went pretty far in, and it's pretty comical. So you're going to have to listen to it. But there's some really important lessons in here and why we keep doing what we do year after year. This episode it's something that's going to bring you all the way back to the very beginning of your hunting career. So you're going to want to listen to it because it's a lot of fun. I've really appreciated you guys kind of following along, subscribing to the show. It means so much to me. So thanks again. We're about to get 18 to 20 inches of snow. So I've got a whole bunch of content uploaded for you guys already that you'll be able to listen to in case the power goes out for 2 weeks. Who knows? Anyway, thanks again. This is InCamp Podcast. I'm here with my good buddy, my brother, Dan Marcelin. What's up?
Hey, I'm pumped to be here, man. I'm honored.
So I guess this is your third season now, right?
This is my third season.
Yeah. So
my second, complete.
Yeah. So
full on.
Not every time, but often when you're able to kind of help somebody new get into this, and you kind of get the hunting season started and everybody's ready, like, oh, I could really do that because they see people like posting pictures and stuff. And Dan texts me like, I think we were pretty far in, like we were in October or something like that.
It was, yes. Yeah.
It was pretty late in the season.
Related.
And I'm like, yeah, I can help you get started, but the season's almost over. And I said, there's some rifle season left if you want to, we can do some rifle hunting together. And he's like, yeah, let's just do it. So my rule of thumb is to always start somebody off with a hunter safety course. And you were on it, man. Remember that? You're like 2 days.
Immediately. I was pumped, man.
So I got to take Dan on his very first hunt. So we'll kind of talk about it from a couple of perspectives, but why don't you tell people what that was like?
Dude, I've told a lot of people what it was like. And at this point in time, it's probably taken on so many different forms and variations that
it's a big fish story.
Oh, it's a big fish story. And so I always tell people the whole time I was looking to see if cameras were going to pop out because maybe I was on a TV show. It had to be. It had to be.
Yeah.
And I learned something very important by that day, my first day, is that my cardio is nowhere near where it should be. But I mean, oh, dude, I'll get in. I'll just tell a story that day in length, man. No, and it was fun. I was honored. Before I even get into the story, I was just honored about how you were right on it with me, man. You're like, here, this is some gear that I have. Here's some old stuff. Here's some, there's some stuff to get you started. Give me a bin. This bin lived in my living room, and I would just open it, look at it, close it. didn't know how to layer up. Didn't know how to do any of this stuff. But I was so blown away that you had hooked me up with all that. Funny enough, too, that right before we went out, I don't know if you remember, and you were just like, but have you ever shot archery, though?
Yeah.
You ever shot archery? And I was like, never. Then it was like, I'm going to bring my bow out, take some shots. And then I flew right to Cabela's. I was like, I need a bow.
Yeah, we went to your gun range and we were zeroing that rifle that I was letting you borrow for the gun season.
Yeah.
And I was like, you really should try bow hunting. Like if you want to extend your season and you're not sure about the time you'll get to have, you can kind of throw some extra days here and there. And we did. We went straight to Cabela's and set you up. You're like, I think you shot my bow. I think I could do this. Like, I want to do this. So have you gotten into archery yet?
Not in the woods. Just still practicing. I don't know why in my mind it was like I wanted to put one down rifle first.
Yeah, sure.
It was just on my mind, and it was what I set out to do at first. And knowing some of the different or just some of the more skill it would take, archery. And I was like, you know what, let me put one in, kind of get the feel, kind of know what that nervousness and those jitters feel like. And so, but anyway, going back to that first day, man, it was awesome. I think we met at the spot at like 4:30, something like that. What an experience. You come down in the truck, you get me, you're like, all right, we're going to the next spot. I was like, all right, let's go to the next spot. And then I don't know if you remember, we're layering up, it's freezing cold, it's 4:30 in the morning. All I'm thinking about is you had said somewhere in that journey, like, I was scouting this place. I saw some bears a few times. That's all I'm thinking about. It's pitch black, no noise around us, just headlamp on, the breath coming out.
It was pretty cold that morning.
And then we get layered up. You pull out 2 mountain bikes, and I'm thinking to myself, God, do I even remember how to ride a bike?
I think I asked you. I was like, "You can ride, right?"
And it had rained the day before, so muddy. I was like, this is happening. And then you go, all right, man, you have your magazine. And I go, oh God. I had left my magazine.
Oh, yeah. I forgot that. You forgot all the bullets.
In this moment of panic. And you're like, forget it. We're just gonna make this work.
Yeah, it was like would have taken us like a half an hour to get back to your car to get it. So
this, now I'm already like, man, what am I? Is this for me? Is this New York City kid really out here forgetting bullets? Like, damn, what are you doing? Anyway, we pop on the headlamps, we're on the bikes, and you're just like, all right, follow me. Now, again, pure paranoia. I don't know if you remember this. Like, the whole time I'm riding behind you, and I'm just,
I remember.
I'm scared and I am tired. The whole thing, and I'm like looking to the right, or looking to the right, looking to the left, and you remember the chest rig that I wore with I got this 9 in there. And I'm just holding on to it, pedaling with one hand, just thinking something pops out and grabs me. I'm just gonna let all 20 of these go. I'm thinking I don't have a 10 millimeter, so I'm just doing this. We finally get to the spot where I think, man, this is where it's gonna happen, and I'm pumped. I'm tired. I didn't want to let you see it though, but
yeah, I kept checking on you, like, you okay? You okay?
Then you're like, all right, let's put the rest of our layers on. And I see you chaining the bikes to the tree. I'm like, wow, okay, this is the spot. Then this is the spot. And you're like, all right, now we hike. I said, I'm looking for the cameras at this point. I'm like, in there? Like, in there? Okay, now we hike.
It's dark, man. It's dark in there. Like,
it's wild. This is me. I'm just trying to watch your feet because I don't want to look to the right, look to the left. I don't want to see anything. I'm just walking. It's dark. I'm just following your footsteps. And I don't remember if the floor was like super rocky and all this stuff. So I'm like, if I break an ankle out here, how they gonna get me? How they whatever. Then we probably get maybe like 10 minutes into this hike to the spot, and you stop. Look at me. You hear that? Now, dude, it's like I lost all feelings in my legs when you said that, because I'm like, I'm out. I'm trying to read body language and stuff. They're like, "Did you hear that?" I'm like, "Yeah." I look, see these 2 eyes, 2 sets of eyes, one down, one up, and you're just staring. And I'm like, "Oh, this is it." I'm like on your move. I'm trying to figure out, you're the experienced guy. I'm trying to think, man, what are you gonna do? And then I see you holding up your phone light and all stuff. I'm like, what is happening? I see one set of the eyes go down. I'm like, wow, this is how it ends. This is how it ends. You say nothing. You look at your phone. You go, maybe if we keep walking, they'll go the other way. And you just start moving. And I'm like, Okay. So you start walking, I start walking. And then in my whole mind, the whole time, I'm like trying to follow you. But I'm trying to think about the last place positionally that we saw these two sets of eyes. I'm thinking if they're circling us, they'll be on this side, they'll be on that side. We finally get to the spot. I go, man, what do you think that was? Like, you're like, it was either deer or coyote. I was like, oh, well, okay. 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 That was the start to that morning, man. And then I remember just, brushed off the ground and we sat there till the sun came up, and I was just blown away. I'd never done up until that was the most nature I'd ever experienced. Like that short window, truck to spot, like that.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, what am I the whole time? No, this is what I was really thinking to myself. I can just buy meat.
Dude.
Everything that I was wanting out of a hunting experience, I was like, oh, I could just buy.
Well, I remember being like, I can't make this too hard, but I want him to see deer, but I don't have any places that are really close to the truck that are easy. I was like, well, this place is pretty easy because it's one of the easier places that I have to buy. I'm like, it's only like a 10-minute bike ride. It's like a mile and a half, and then it's like a mile walk. It's not that bad, and I'm thinking like, I mean, Dan's in shape, it'll be fine. He's got this. And I remember we saw those two, they were deer.
Yeah.
And I remember we saw those two deer, and when we get to where we were going to sit, you were like, so where do you think those bears are? And I was like, what bears? And you were like, those two bears we saw. I was like, those are deer. And you were like, yeah. That's what I meant, the deer. It's like, I was hoping they'd kind of just go up the ridge a little bit so they'd come down when we were sitting there. But
Dude,
we were kind of sitting there reminiscing and, telling stories and talking. Like, we've grown up in separate places, but know a lot of the same people, through church and whatever. And we were kind of just talking about growing up in life and leading worship and playing guitar, all that stuff,
Yep.
And I mean, we sat there for like 4 hours, and it went like, it went
amazing.
like that. And I do remember you kind of leaned over, and you were like, kind of getting to know each other. You leaned over, you go, can I tell you something? And I was like, what's that? You were like, this morning, riding in the dark, I was so scared. I was just like, it's my favorite part of this story.
I was praying. I'm not even joking. It was like every single kind of scripture that could come to my brain that I could try to like declare that we've got dominion over the outdoors, and that the Lord has given man dominion over. I'm saying it all. I'm saying it all. I was really scared. What's funny? That year in particular, my phrase going into that year was do hard things. Or that was just like a theme in my life, particularly like challenging year financially and other stuff like that. But it was like, you can do hard things. And that, to me, I remember it being like, it was super late into the rifle. I think it was midweek. I think maybe like a Wednesday. We only had I only went out that one day, and I wasn't going to be able to go out again. And I was just like, you know what? This is the way to cap off this year. Just do hard. Like, you can do hard things. And I remember biking in. That's all. Like, you can do hard things. I'm praying and saying that. Like, you can do hard things. This is definitely a hard thing. Hiking in. Yeah. Doing the whole day. I mean, just that time. I'm like, whoa. It felt wildly successful to me, even though, like, after seeing those two sets of eyes in the morning, and then we only saw, two deer that were probably like 150 yards away or something, like 200 yards, and they were running. You remember we were like going after it. That was wild. So we see we sit for a few hours, and then finally Aaron's like, yo, let's walk, man. Let's jump some deer. And I'm like, okay. And it's funny, everything that you and other hunters say, it's like secretly I have to like Google what the heck that means.
Yeah.
Go jump some deer. What? Cool. And I learned so much. Like, you're checking out scrapes. You're like, look at that see that grass? You see how it's, I'm like, yeah, I see how it's kind of laid out. They were here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we go to like jump some deer. We see some in the, this is when I realized it's a different set of vision between those who are in the woods and those who aren't, because I couldn't see any, and you're just right there, right? I'm like, eyes aren't working. I'm not seeing any body silhouettes between anything. I'm not seeing any tail flickers. And I was like, and then I finally see it. Then I realized, man, putting time in behind that scope is a whole other, to be prepared, because I'm getting this dark circled, everything's all black and fuzzy. Oh, what an experience, man.
Well, you actually, maybe you don't remember this. You actually spotted the first deer. Remember, we were walking down that ridge, and there was 2 bucks down. Remember that? They were down on that bed.
Yeah.
And you were like, yo, there's cows down there.
Yes.
there's 2 cows down there. And I'm like, dude, and it was actually, I actually had a picture of the one buck. He has a big white spot on his neck, and he's like 125-inch 8-pointer. And I remember you like you were we were kind of just sharing a gun. I was going to shoot a doe. You were going to shoot, because I had killed a buck. You were going to shoot a buck. And you're like, I'm like, come on, dude, get on it. And I'm like, oh, it's like, I mean, it probably would have ruined your experience if you shot a buck that big on your very first hunt ever. But, you know,
you flip the background.
Yeah.
So you're like, get down.
I know. You're like, we got to get closer. And I push you down the hill. You're like, oh, okay. And the bucks kind of, they didn't even, I don't know how they didn't spook or see us. They just kind of like worked their way down the hill, and we ended up losing sight of them, because they were like probably 100 yards, I guess. But I had been trying to find that stinking buck all season. Like, he was one of those deer that I would get on camera, and then I'd hunt the next day, and then I'd check the camera and be like, oh, he was here yesterday. And then I'd go back and I'd check the camera, and he was there a day after I was there, like all this. So he was pretty frustrating. But the last pictures I had of him were on the ridge that we were sitting on.
Wow.
In the morning. So when we were working up that ridge, I'm like, we're running to that buck. And, when you're taking somebody new, you hope they kill something, but you don't. I would have been happy if you killed one of the big bucks that I had, but you almost, for your experience, big bucks are an addiction, right? Until you get to the point where, I don't know. I don't know what it is about big antlers, but people love big antlers. And you kind of get to a point where you either just love the experience or you love chasing big horns. And that's like a really hard thing for new people. So if you shoot a giant buck on your first time, it's hard to get excited about ones that aren't as big,
Yeah.
And so you're like, oh, I hope he kills that deer. But at the same time, maybe it's not what the experience that he needs. And that sometimes taking somebody new on their first hunt doesn't mean a perfect experience. It means the harder parts. And, sometimes that might even mean not seeing a deer. Kind of makes you want it more. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Dude, I've been out with 3 guys, you, 2 other buddies, over the last 3 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always the same. Like, oh man, Dan, I wish you would have got something. I wish you would have. And I'm just here like, no, you don't understand what this experience is for me. Just to be able to get out there, be in nature, do all these things that I would have never done, anticipate. You're thinking about the what ifs. What are you going to do? How are you going to react? The whole experience for me, man, is worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though this season they took a buck, took my first deer at that, but it was like it wasn't like it made, if I didn't, it would have made the experience any less.
Mm-hmm.
It's just all part of it, and it's been a blast, So.
Yeah. We're gonna keep you. Do you have time?
Oh yeah.
Cool. We're gonna keep talking.
Love it.
I remember you did make a couple comments, and this is so after we saw that the big buck, and I was pumped that you got to see it and have that experience, because you were like a leaf. You were doing, it was so cool. And it's so cool. Like I still get like that, but it's so cool to see somebody experience that for the first time, because your eyes, dude, were like, what is happening? And it I remember you saying something like, this isn't like the concrete. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
this isn't like the block walls I have to work in, and you do feel a sense of like real freedom when you're in the woods, and real peace. And when you're talking about, we do all these hard things, but we do them to experience the peace that you have when you're in the woods, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of debate on whether Sunday hunting is like a good thing or not. And like, oh, well, I'm missing church or whatever. And I'm not going to say I never hunt on a Sunday. I usually use it to like take the dog out in the afternoon for pheasants or something like that. But there is, for those people that do a lot of travel hunting and stuff, you can still stay connected to God on a Sunday in the woods,
Yeah.
And the important part um, about being a Christian who hunts is not necessarily who shouldn't be in the woods on a Sunday. The important part about being a Christian, well, part of being a Christian is community and sharing it with other people. But sometimes you do need to recharge your batteries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus went into a desert for 40 days. There were a
100.
couple Sundays in 40 days. There's a couple Sundays. And sometimes you need that battery recharge.
Yeah.
And sometimes that it makes you experience community better, and it wants to share with those people what you've done in the woods.
Right.
So we do these hard things, but we do it to find kind of some solace, and to build ourselves up, and to make ourselves better dads, better husbands, better people.
1,000,000%.
And it was just so fun to get to experience that with somebody new. And I've tried to, I talk about mentorship a lot, and getting people into hunting. It's not like an easy thing to do,
I
right?
bet.
Because you're giving your time away to somebody else to go hunt a deer for them, or you're sharing your spots with them that you've worked really hard to find, or whatever it is. So I do try my best to bring people out. Like, I've gotten a couple people their start in hunting, or have helped people either renew an old experience. Maybe they weren't good at it, and help them kind of through that kind of stuff. But I think it's so important, A, to the hunting community, but B, to just people in general.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I don't know if you remember one of the first questions you asked me after we connected on social. In person, we were in church, and you were like, well, why do you want to do this?
mhm.
That was like a massive, even though I had thought it through and had little blips of, I really want to do this. I really want to do this. I, I imagine on your end, it was, dude, if you're not serious about it, like, I'm not, because it was after that, then you gave me the gear, and, you walked me through. And I think about that in the vein of mentoring, right? Even for me as a pastor, I sit and talk with many people, but there's sometimes when people want to go deeper, right? They want to do one-on-one, they want to lock in for the year, they want to meet weekly or something like that. And in a similar vein, I always have to gauge, like, how s- how serious, how serious,
Mhm.
like, you're gonna keep up with your Bible reading and checking in and accountability and things like. Because if not, hey, cool. Like, I don't want that for you, but also I've I've got 3 kids. I've got a wife. I've got a
Yeah.
full-time job. I've got a second part-time job. Like, I can be doing things. Now, I'd love to give you this time, and if you're not gonna be serious about it, let's not start. And so I remember that when you asked me that question, it was like, whoa, this he's not joking around. Just, you've got this bloodlust. You want to head into the woods and take something out. Like, no, it was like, no. And even for me, it was like, no, dude, what? Check your intention, check your heart, and
Mhm.
even in moral sphere of balancing, like, all right, you're gonna go into the woods and kill an animal, like, damn, like, and I'd imagine some people have problems with that. It's like, no, I had to really check that against scripture,
Mm-hmm.
check that against what my intention was. Again, that year specifically was tough financially. It was a real strain. And I'm like, man, I can go into the woods, do hard things, right? As a provider, as a dad, as a husband, get this animal and feed my family. Like that, I don't think there's anything more beautiful than that.
Mm-hmm.
Secondary, if I ever need to do this down the line, oh, I will know how. That was another thing that I was super pumped, uh, specifically to go out there with you. It was because you were really set on not just guiding me through that first hunt, all those kind of experience, but it was even in the afterward, like, no, dude, we're gonna do the whole thing. We're gonna field dress this thing, show you how to taste something. Like, yeah, this is also super valuable information. You want to do it with someone who's done it,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah. And that's like, that's one of the hard things about teaching people too, is they don't want to do the whole part. They just want to, go in and shoot the animal. If you're going to take somebody that's not that serious or they're not really sure, like take them squirrel hunting, like, cause eh, I mean, it's serious too. Like it's a smaller life, but you're still killing something. And we don't hunt because we like to kill. We hunt because we like to hunt. We like to chase. We like to do the hard things. And like, I'm not a serial killer, so I'm not out here being like, I can't wait to
Yeah.
eat this thing, like that's part of hunting. That's part of the experience. That's the necessity that you need to do to bring that animal home. And that's why we go to the range and shoot our guns and practice with the bow. You told me in the beginning, and I asked you because I know you haven't pulled the trigger on archery because you're being ultra responsible with that.
Yeah.
People have problem, like they get a bow, they make a couple good shots, they've got a group like this, and they're like, I think I'm good, I can hit a deer's lung. Like Dan Marcelin wants to hit the deer where he shoots at the deer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And we're going to work you through that because you really need to experience archery season. Rifle is great, but it's a different level.
Yep.
And part of it is, I just posted this clip from Nathan Endicott yesterday or 2 days ago, and he talks about how we don't worship creation, but when we're in creation, we experience God, and creation should point to the creator. And when when you see deer doing deer things and see how the woods works and see how in tune the animals are with creation and how God's created them, you can't help but appreciate everything about it. And
One,
it's,
1,000,000%.
yeah. And that's part of where that peace comes from. Like we're in something that was created. Like you think about everything that's old, nature is as old as it gets.
Yeah.
Every instinct an animal has is as old as it gets, is as experienced as it gets. And that's kind of a cool thought to think of. There's nothing older than that.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
a great perspective, man.
and it's really cool to see, like I said, the cool part, and I've been preaching this on so many of my podcasts, is take somebody new, and it doesn't have to be every year, and it doesn't have to be on every hunt. um you know when you take somebody, it's important to see how serious they are about it, because it's a do I take them squirrel hunting, or are they ready to deer hunt,
Yeah.
or are they ready to go kill an elk out west, or whatever that is. Like take that moment to evaluate the seriousness of it, because it's the teach a man to fish quote. I'm taking you out to teach you how to do it so you can go and do it, replicate it on your own.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
took you out to do, to me, not that hard of a hunt, but the hardest thing you'd ever done to that point.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So how easy was it to do it where you're doing it now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and to go 3 years, you know, people on the other end of the line, listen to this. Dan Marcelin killed his first buck this year.
Hey, here he is.
That's what
Here
I'm
he is.
talking about. That's
Here
what
he
you're
is.
looking for right there.
Here he is.
How much of a prize is that, buddy?
Oh, dude, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was it's weird. I noticed. So I'm a talker. It's not hard for me to talk. It's not hard for me to engage. Something happens to me when I'm in. Maybe it's new experience. I don't have many new experiences like all the time, or so often, but something happens to me in the woods and outdoors, and I just get speechless.
Mm-hmm.
I just get really quiet, and I'm following. I'm trying to keep up. Thank God I've been able to go out with more experienced hunters, but it's like I don't have the words. Like I can't I'm almost just frozen. Like,
Mm-hmm.
hey Dan, pick this up, okay? And then, oh, we're gonna walk here, okay? It's like, hey Dan, grab that, okay? Hey, move the flashlight, okay? Okay. Yeah, it's the weirdest thing, but it's almost because it's so massive and so just rewarding and awesome that I'm speechless. So
Mm-hmm.
that's definitely how I was that day. That day for sure.
It was fun, dude. So tell me about this first deer, because I haven't really gotten to hear the story from your lips, you know?
Yes. Oh man. So it was cool. It was an awesome experience. My buddy invited me out so his family, they do a hunt camp
Mm-hmm.
uh, every year, and I felt honored. Him and I have become real close in the last few years, real close to the family. And so he was like, "Look, I do this hunt camp. I so him, he's like, I haven't hunted in forever, but I grew up hunting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Since I was 12. I grew up hunting, and so he's like, but I'd love to take you. So last year we went half and half on a 2-man stand, and he's like, all right, we'll put it on my farm. I'll share my spot with you. And you were talking about it being a big deal to take out a new hunter, right? You're giving spots, you're giving things like that. I was real honored just that he would invite me to this thing. And so for me, it was even this, oh dude, you better be serious. Like you're,
Yeah.
you're not just gonna go out and blah, blah. Someone's really giving you their opening day, their time, whatever. So that was last year. But this year, so get there, opening day, same routine, 5:30, get dressed up, drive up to the spot, park the truck, walk to the stand, let the wood settle a little bit. So what was awesome this day, where we hunted was on it was a cornfield. It varies year to year, corn or soy. They normally cut it. So last year they had cut it, and
Sure.
it was flat and open, and that was my last year experience. This year they had not cut the corn,
Mm.
and I get up in this stand. I'm like, oh god, I I don't know what it is, dude. It's like my eyes don't work. Oh, I'm like and everything looks like a deer. Everything looks like a deer.
Corn's hard to see into if you're up in a
I,
tree.
I had no idea, and from up in a tree, I had no idea just how tall it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So 6:30, I think it was like 6:38 was like legal shooting hour or something like that. I kid you not, at like 35, I see this shadow. Man, no joke, like 20 yards in front of me. This shadow just walking, moving through the corn, just like floating. And I'm thinking, no, surely that can't be anything, because I would have heard something.
Yeah.
It was mind blowing how effortlessly this thing is just moving through. And so I tap my buddy, and I'm like pointing, and I'm like, now, again, it all happened so fast, and I guess we're more experienced, but I'm like trying to see, what is this? Is this a buck? Is it legal? What's going on? I'm counting. He's like, it's legal. Okay, he whispers that. Mind you, I'm doing this with my hand. He's like, put your stop moving. Anyway, and then just as quickly as I saw it, from 20 yards in front, it disappears.
Mm-hmm.
This legal buck, but it wasn't legal shooting hour or whatever. But that was our first day. We saw little ones, and some coming under the stand. That was another crazy one. At one point, I'd like gotten up on my right leg, put my left leg behind me. I'm like trying to positionally see this deer that comes in, and I have to freeze there for what felt like an eternity. Really was like 5 minutes. My leg is shaking. I'm trying not to spook this thing. I'm trying. It was nuts. All that happens on the first day. Great experience. The second day. So funny enough, I am a pastor, and I took off that first week of
Mm-hmm.
hunting. And so for me, I did Sunday hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And I just viewed it like I was on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Funny enough, I still engaged with the church online in the stand that morning.
Nice.
Hey, I'm checking on things that are going on, making sure everything is good while I'm out there. Here, let me pull this a little bit. Checking on things to make sure everything is smooth, but also engage with church just right from where I am. Which was awesome. And, I enjoyed every second of it. It started to snow that morning, which was beautiful. I'm just having all the first experiences. I'm like, I'm really sitting up there and it's snowing and it was crazy and it was awesome. Leave the stand for a little break, come back around 2:00. This is where I get my first real moment. So I get back in the stand around 2:30. I'm chilling. I get myself set up. My buddy now has said, hey, look, enjoyed it the first day. Hey, first morning was awesome. Have fun. you go, you go enjoy yourself. And I get it. And it's good. We get up there, we talk, we have a great conversation. But so this second day or afternoon, probably like 2:30, I hear just something beating the ground. Boom, 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 boom. All right. I've not heard that in the woods. Aaron, so there's corn behind me, corn in front of me, little path. I see this 8-pointer roll up. I'm not even joking. 20 yards over my right shoulder. Now I'm going to stand facing this way, guns in front of me. Here's this thing, majestic as ever, just there, nose up. And I start shaking. I start praying because now I'm up, it's awkward, and I've got to transition this gun from in front of me, right, to behind me and over. Man, I'm doing everything. I'm just like, please stay there. Stay there. I'm trying to get in position. I spook it. That thing just takes off back the other way. Oh, that one got me. That was the closest I had been. That was the first. Yeah, I mean, 8-point. I mean, the whole gamut. I was like, is this really happening right now?
Mm-hmm.
Which was really cool because part of the experience was I wanted to feel that feeling. I wanted to know what that would feel like, and I definitely felt it at that point. I mean, adrenaline is pumping, and then when it went, I was so discouraged, which was crazy because I was like, I know maybe a more experienced hunter would have been able to take that shot and it would have been, yay, it would have been awesome. Maybe. But I was also like, man, did I blow it? Like, did I not know how to transition? Did I not know how to stay calm? Should I have waited? Should I have let it? Like, it was following its path. Maybe it would have cut across and come right in front of me. Like, I was like, man, Dan, did you rush this? Should you have been more patient? Like, what? All that. So anyway, leave the stand that night and Monday morning comes. I'm like, all right, back out, don't see anything for the morning, go back out in the afternoon around 2 p.m. again, because I felt like that's when we had seen some movement in that 2:30 to 4:30 window. So I go back out. I'm hanging out, and I'm telling myself this time, I'm like, Dan, you've got to relax. Like, so it's funny, me in the stand, I'm like hand on gun, perched up, head on a swivel, scope. I mean, this time I get into the stand. Now it's Monday. It's the afternoon. I'm just like, you got to relax. I chilled, sit back, put the gun off, and I just have the binoculars. And I think I started listening to a podcast, or I was listening to the Bible app, something like that. I was listening to something. I'm just gonna relax. So I'm sitting there, have binoculars on. I'm just doing the thing and enjoying being out there. And wouldn't you know, at around the 135, 140 mark, I see this. Now we'd seen a bunch of just babies that had come under the stand. And so there was like a sizable difference in like their neck. At that distance, I see just poking its head out of the corn. So there's the corn, here's some pine, here's some corn. I just see this thicker neck just dip down and come back up. Dude, I throw the binoculars, throw the phone. I'm like, this can't be happening. Get up in the scope. I'm looking. I'm like, oh, that's a good deer. And I'm just trying to breathe. Now, here's what was going through my brain. Before I got up in the stand that day, my buddy, he was like, Dan, yeah, have fun, get up there. But he would always say two things whenever I go to the stand by myself. He's like, one, remember where you shot it. If you take a shot, remember where you shot it. I don't care what markers you need to do. So all the time I'm like asking, what's the distance to that? What's the distance to that? So he's like, remember where you shot it. Two, remember where it goes. So that's all I'm thinking about. Like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna take this shot. Now, funny enough, this time, I mean, safety's off, it's in my sight, I was relatively calm. Like, I'm just focusing on my breathing because at that distance for me, well, I hadn't taken any shots past 100. Like, at the range I go to, it goes to the 100. So I was just, I wanted to be extra careful. Like, I wanted to be careful, but I didn't want to rush it, but I also didn't want to take too long and then spoil the moment. Because the other thing I noticed was when I watch a bunch of these YouTube videos, it makes it seem like you're going to have the perfect moment. Poof. It's going to be broadside. It's going to be this whole thing. It's going to stand. It's going to wait, or its head's going to be down. No, these things are in transition sometimes. I'm like, all right, Dan, focus on my breathing. My scope isn't going crazy. I'm like, all right, I was relatively calm. Boom, take the shot. Now, what I wanted to do was like take it, close my eyes. I don't know, but then I'm thinking, remember where you shot it, and remember, it's like take the shot. Now it's head up, and it just jumps up and goes straight into the pine. Jumps up straight into the pine. Now I don't know if I spooked it. I don't know if I hit it. I don't know how far it went. I don't know any of these things. Text my buddy. Well, at this time, he heard the shot go off. I see his orange come out of his shop or whatever. He's 250 yards away. I see the orange come out. I'm like, dude, he's like, stay there. I'm coming.
Yeah.
Okay. Stay there. I'm coming. So he's like, I need you as best as you can. Just describe where you took this shot. Now I see him. So now he comes up maybe after about like 25 minutes. Now I take the shot around 340. Take the shot around 340. He comes up and he's looking on the ground. Now here's the next like fascinating portion because I've not entered into the sphere yet of you're gonna have track some blood kind of.
Yep.
I'm like, what is he doing? It's like CSI. He's looking at the corn, he's looking at the ground, scratching his head, he's looking. Now I'm like, crap. I'm in this tree stand 140, 150 yards away. I'm not giving him the right. Like, obviously, I'm skewed. I don't know anything. He's like, Dan, I'm not seeing any. Are you sure? Now, sun's coming down. It's getting dark. It's cold. At this time, I've cooled down because I'm sitting in this tree stand now, 30 minutes. He's like, all right, come down. We got to look for this deer. So I walk towards the spot that I had sworn that I put it down. But now being on the ground with the corn 2 feet above your head and walking through
way different.
Oh, way different. So now I'm second guessing. And I'm like, certainly like, man. So he's like, all right, let's, and this was something that I really respected about him. I think a lot of people would have just been like, I'm not seeing anything like, or maybe a lot of people wouldn't, but in what I would imagine, a lot of people were like, we don't see it. Like, he was like, no, you took a shot. You got to make sure you've done everything to make sure that either it was a good shot, you put this thing down, or it's not wounded. And so now we work our way through the pine. Me, him, his dad, we're spread out. I'm scared as ever now. Again, I'm in his woods and I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, I don't know. It's irrational. I'm like, someone's going to get me. Someone's going to come out. But I'm like, Dan, you have a gun. All right. So we're walking through it, 10 yards, 20 yards, 30 yards, probably about like a good 60 yards in between from where I thought I took the shot to the end. And now we're essentially in his yard. We're looking, walking slow. We're pacing. He's showing me how to like scan. He's showing me the whole method. He's looking down, looking up. We get to the bottom of this ridge and bottom of this thing. He's like, from that distance and from seeing nothing, no blood, nothing at all. He's like, man, you probably didn't hit it. You probably didn't hit it. And that's, I'm like, you know what? Hey, if I didn't, there's over tomorrow, we're still early in the thing. And I was surprised here because he was pretty confident. Then he's like, all right, let's work our way back up the pine. And I'm like, but you thought I didn't hit it. He's like, no, we're doing this again. Like we're in this. I'm going to make sure, work our way back up. Maybe get like, what felt to me like 20 steps in. He grabs my shoulder, points to the base of a tree. And there it is laying there.
Oh, yeah.
Again, I get in like this speechless mode, but also I was thankful that it was a good shot.
Yeah.
Thankful that it was a good shot. And this thing, it was just this again, hiking or what felt like hiking through his woods. I'm beat, I'm tired, and it was just like this relief. Now I didn't know that was just the beginning of what my night was gonna look like. But in that moment, it was awesome. And then my buddy, he was like, "Oh no, we're not done right now.
Yep.
I have to track this blood back up," because he's like, in my mind, so at tons of blood, we're following the trail, tons of blood. Make our way back up 20 yards, 25 yards, starts to trickle down a little bit. And then right where I took the shot, wouldn't you know, the tiniest speck of blood on the leaf. So it hit right at the base of the neck, and jumped up, that one little splatter, and then it moved, and then all the blood. So it was good. I mean, I was again, just thankful, grateful, super happy. And then that kicked off the part 2 of the experience.
Yeah.
My buddy got right to work, man. He just picked up a leg and started dragging. And mind you, again, I've got all this gear on. I'm in terrible cardio shape. Like, I now know why you do the kettlebells. I now know, listen, all of that. He's like, "Hey, Dan, grab a leg." I grab a leg, pull, leg just slips out of my hand. I'm like, "Oh God, dead weight is it's not even a big deal." It's like, dead weight is wildly different. Oh man. And then from that point, he pulls up a 4x4 so we can load it up, take it to where we'll process it and things like that. So we drag it out probably 15 yards, but that 15 just it was crazy. I gotta change my whole workout routine. I gotta drag stuff. I gotta push stuff. And then from there, you know, it was funny. He goes, "I've never had to teach somebody this part. Never had to teach this part." And so it was great. Like, I mean, he allowed me to make some of the first cuts, work on skinning. I was so nervous that I was gonna puncture. Just all the stuff that you watch on YouTube. And I'm that kind of guy. If I know I'm gonna do something, I'm watching the videos. In my mind, it's like, "Oh, I've seen this. I know what not to do," but I'm always going to defer to the experienced person. And so I'm watching the method, and it was really cool. We skinned it, dressed it, did all that good stuff. And it was interesting. After all that, you know, I say to my friend, I'm like, "Dude, you're like, man, you're really good at this." And he goes, "You know, doing that with you, helping you do that, it like reignited." He's like, as he was doing it, he was like, "No, in that moment, I realized I miss this." And it's been some time, and he grew up doing it again. He's like, "I miss this." And so it was cool that even a guy that's probably had hundreds of experiences like this, but doing it with me, seeing it through a first timer's eyes, I guess, was just reinvigorating for him. And so I was pumped to see that. But yeah, man, getting it hoisted and skinned, and he got right to work. I mean, taking the head off. Oh, what is happening? And all he keeps saying, he's like, "Dan, are you good?" I was like, "I'm good. I'm good. Don't worry. I need water." He's like, handing me, like, "Yeah, this is hard." Yeah, I'm like, "Okay, yeah, some kidneys right here. All right, water."
It's such an important part of the process. And like you said, I think one important thing that you said was, a lot of people think when you get to the deer, that's it. You know, like, "Oh, I did it." Or you half did it, you know, because the part where it gets into your freezer and the rest of your family get, the whole point of doing it, right, is to bring home some meat.
100%.
And it takes, well, fortunately, this rifle season was super cold, but sometimes you're working against hot temperatures, you're working against bugs, and like, you have to protect that. Like, you're not done investing your time. And it's kind of like a thing. Like, some people are like, "Oh, you know, I can only hunt till whatever time," which is fine. But then you got to have a backup plan, right? If you got to go to work at 4 and you can only hunt till 2 so you can get to work, you better be ready to call off work if you kill a deer. You know what I mean? Because
right.
like, or if it's hot out, you need to have a method to get it out. For me, if I'm in where the day that we went out, if we had shot a deer way back there, we would have quartered that thing in the field and put it in our pack and walked out.
Dude, it gave me great perspective to that day.
Mm-hmm.
Almost to the point where I was like, thank God we didn't get anything. I don't know. Dude, this is just me being honest. I don't know what I would have done. I don't know what I would have done. I'm having that experience right there in that controlled environment. I'm like, what would we have done?
Yeah, it would have been fine. I'd have just did it. But the thing is, though, is I've had a lot of people tell me, like, I'm like, well, what if you kill one? And they're like, well, I'll just figure out when I get there. I'm like, no, you need a plan, man. Like, you can't, that's kind of irresponsible to think that way, right? Because what your friend taught you about trailing blood, your responsibility is to do everything possible to try to find that blood. I mean, if you walked around for an hour or two and didn't find any sign that there was any kind of hit, or you covered what you think are your options for having killed this deer, then you did your best, right? But he felt that you didn't. So that's why he kept going. And making you follow that blood trail after the fact, super, super important, because what you learn from that is, and this happens a lot with guns, you'll shoot a deer and that bullet rips right through that deer and that deer is out, like running. They might not bleed for the first 30 or 40 yards. So the reason of where you shot that deer and where that deer went is really important, because especially if you get a chance to grid with two or three people, but you can zigzag back on a path that you think that deer went and eventually cross blood. But sometimes they might not bleed for 60 yards or more, or they might not bleed at all. So sometimes that's really important. Usually with archery equipment, you're tearing like a bigger hole and it's slower. The penetration is different. You get blood. Rifle, it can take a minute, especially if it's a higher shot where the blood is sitting down in the chest cavity and they have to fill up before they even bleed. Like,
That's insane. It was from drop to drop. And I'm like, dude, I would have stepped all over this.
Mm-hmm.
I would have stepped all over this.
Yeah. And there's a couple things about killing an animal that new people have a struggle with, and that's blood trailing or how long to wait. Like, a lot of people just, thankfully you knew to like wait for your buddy. A lot of people just hop out of the stand to see where my deer is. Like, it might not be dead.
Right.
Then what happens? That thing's not making a lot of blood. You go jump that deer and it runs 100 more yards and then you can't find it. You know what I mean? Because they're going to hide harder when they get jumped the second time,
Right.
So there's all that stuff that you learn. But I'm so glad that you had another buddy that took you out and kind of taught you the ropes in that way and gave you that good experience. It's something that's so cool to see a hunter grow and, learn from this kind of stuff. And, text, Dan, how was your day today?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, come on. I think I was up north still when you had texted me that you shot that deer. And I was like, my buddy got one, and the whole cabin's like, all right, good.
You were on my mind, man. You were on.
And, it really is. It's really something special to see you get to come from where you started to now.
Yeah.
And still be pumped about it. So at some point we're going to have to kill you a real hard one. And then we'll, have some good time with that. But we'll go back there. We'll kill some squirrels first. How's that?
Listen, man, there's the whole workout routine. I'll make sure I am ready.
Yeah.
It was intense, man. And I was thankful. Even we hung it up, and again, thank God temperatures were frigid that week. Went back, so left it out, kind of like this outhouse or out meat processing place that he has.
Yep.
And so it was frozen solid, man. When I came back Friday, we butchered it there. But just to come home with all those bags of meat and all that grind and all these different cuts, even from the way it started, opening day till that Friday, almost a week later, coming home with meat, throwing it all in the freezer. I mean, there was no greater feeling than that. When my kids were pumped. Yeah, one, yeah, I don't know, silly moment. Like we've been trying to keep our kids just, hey, this is what daddy's doing, hey, that bacon you like to eat, well, an animal died for that. That chicken you like to
Mhm.
eat, yeah, animal died for that. So when I sent the pictures home to my wife, she showed the kids, they were pumped, they were elated. And then my daughter, I'm showing her the picture of me with the rifle on the deer, and she's 5, and she's kind of like, okay, she does this. She's like, it's kind of cute. I could tell in her mind it was racking her brain. My son, he'll be 4 on Thursday, but he was like, "Daddy got a reindeer. Yes, daddy got a reindeer. Daddy got a reindeer." So it was great.
That's awesome. It's cool to see kids' perspectives on it too. Like, how old are your kids now?
So 5, 4 on Thursday, and 1.5.
Yeah. My daughter grew up not knowing any different, right? Um, was bringing home deer and turkeys and all that stuff. And, uh, you know, I remember like early memories of that. I remember I was processing a back ham on my kitchen table. And my daughter walks in and I'm like I'm throwing like the scraps on the table and then, throwing the good stuff in the cooler. And she goes out in the living room. She's like, Mommy, Daddy's making a big mess. And then, the following year, I'm doing the same thing. She's like, goes out in the living room, Mommy, did you see all that meat in there?
Love it.
You know,
Love it.
and then I remember one spring I come home, this is like all progressive, right? I remember I came home with a turkey. I killed a turkey at like 7:00, 6:30, 7:00 in the morning, and she was going to go to daycare. Wasn't going to get there till 8. So I got home in time, and her and Lizzie are all excited. I'm like, and Avonlea sees a turkey and she's like, Dad, can I see the meat? Sure. So we're like out there and I'm like breasting this turkey, taking the legs out. And she's like, can I touch it? And I was like, yeah. She's there like, we're going to eat that tonight. Right. So I ended up, she grilling up turkey and wrapping in bacon. Oh, so good, And she got to the daycare and immediately she tells the teacher, my daddy shot a turkey. And the teacher, this is the funny perspective. This is something you get all the time. He didn't shoot a turkey. It's not Thanksgiving. I'm like,
Right.
I mean, yeah, you can hunt turkeys in the fall, but you hunt turkeys in the spring. And it's like kind of not something everybody knows, And they're like, oh, okay. And she's like, well, he didn't really shoot a turkey. And Lizzie was like, yeah, he did. And she's like, here's the picture. And like Avonlea's in the picture with me with the turkeys, and the kids look at is that turkey dead? Like,
that's awesome. That is awesome.
But, to fast forward like another 7 years, like last year, she was in the kitchen with our foreign exchange student butchering deer with me on the kitchen table, and it's cool to see all that,
Yeah.
from somebody that's a kid growing up to your kids learning how to understand it to you kind of learning this all. It's so fun, man. And for me, it's really what it's all about. Um, every now and then I need a solo hunt and, experience that, but I really love to share it with people that are experienced, people that are inexperienced, you know, teaching you has helped me learn how to teach more people.
Mm.
And that's just like, people are like, oh, what can I learn from somebody that's new? Well, I'm not going to learn anything from this guy, but I've learned how to pass it on better the next time. And,
Yeah.
better the time after that. And that's so important to me. So I do learn something new every time I take somebody out. It also helps you learn the things that you might not have thought to teach somebody. You know, I, I've taken a couple people now, teaching them about deer sign, teaching them about the way the woods work. I remember you had talked about seeing that one deer real far away. I remember we got back to the bikes and we were walking back with the bikes. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
And I said, there's a deer and it's standing on the road, like in the wide open. And you're like, I don't see it. I'm like, it's right there in the middle of the road.
That was unbelievable. To this day, I was like, how did he see that? It
Well,
looked one with the grass.
yeah. But that was something, I had to think about, like, hey, you either need to figure out how to tell them how to find that or give people tips on what to look for. Like, go watch some videos of like amateur video. Don't go watch like videos that are done by a professional because they're going to have all the best shots of the deer. Like, go watch amateur videos where you can barely see the deer walking through the grass, or like something that kind of gets your eyes and your brain learning how to see stuff in the woods. Because
That was
I
one
remember
distance. That was one I've never had to look or measure out that far, especially when it's not up against something. And so
Mhm,
even from that moment, I'm always sure to ask, like, hey, so from here to that tree, what's because I want to be able to gauge. And
mhm,
and I found myself getting better and better, but I'm like, still like, okay, hey, what kind of tree is that?
mhm.
Because then I can say, oh, 20 yards from the oak tree, or from the, so that was a super helpful day, because I was like, man. And then even when you're like, when we finally got in scope, and it never moved, it was almost
No,
like, and then you're like, oh, it's not legal.
yeah, yeah. It was like a little 4-pointer or something, but because I was hoping we could make it grow another point, because that would have been that would have been ideal, and it was halfway back to the truck, so
Yeah.
that would have been the next best thing. But I do remember like walking to where it was, and you look back and you're like, that was far, because we were looking at its tracks, and I'm like, you can tell like this buck, you can kind of see the dew hooves in the back or whatever sometimes with the buck. And we were talking about how it was moving, where it came from, why it would have came from that direction, all that kind of stuff. And it's so cool to experience that, man. But one thing I want to ask you, as a new hunter, what are the top 5 things that you think you've learned in the last 3 years as far as becoming a hunter?
Hmm. Top five.
If that's too many, we could start with 3.
Oh, no, it's good. It's good. Um, so I think preparedness, and I don't really know how to frame it, but pre-hunt, hunt, post-hunt. Just like you were talking about, hey, if you shoot a deer at 2, you gotta go to work at 4. Like, all right, well, you've not thought this thing through
Mm-hmm.
in preparedness. So preparedness really matters beforehand. So that's gear matters. So I was grateful to have had this experience last year to then take into this year, because I was able to just upgrade some of the stuff. I mean, I'm still rocking the stuff you gave me. But like being able to elevate, okay, pants, man,
Mm-hmm.
I need something that can cut the wind, because or hey, too many layers or too little layers, or man, if my feet are cold, I'm ready to give up the
Mm-hmm.
entire thing. So that pre-hunt, the gear, it really matters. Um, Obviously being prepared in the stand to have everything, your bullets, right, to have everything you need, and then post, like, all right, what am I going to need to take this thing out? And so that's one. Preparedness. Two, patience. And I think that's one that we can always grow in.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something beautiful about the fact that you can't make something happen out there.
Yep.
You can't wish it would come. You can't will it to come. You could pray all you want. You-
Yep.
you- and it's funny where the mind then goes, and the conversation you start to have in your head. And if one would just come. And so you really get a taste of true patience.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I guess along with that, another thing is that anything can happen at any time. So even last week, right, we're in the late season here in 5C for rifle, and I was like, I had an hour where I could sit,
Mm-hmm.
right, and I was like, some people said, you're really gonna do all that, get dressed, go up the thing. Hey, something can happen in 12 minutes, something can happen in
Absolutely.
15 minutes. So I guess that'd be number 3, that anything can happen at any time. 4, and not that I needed to be out in nature, but this just reinforced. 4 is, there really is a God.
Yep.
There really is a God. And not, yeah, being out in nature, sunrise, and your little self against the backdrop of the sky, which feels like you can touch. Like that's one thing. But watching that deer hang, and and skinned, and you realize this thing has complex parts and muscles and fibers and nerves, all the stuff that what can make all that come together?
Mm-hmm.
And then here I am harvesting it up to then eat and take in. Like, this is the most complex thing I've ever seen, as it's hanging here,
Mm-hmm.
right? No skin and you got to work against that gland, or man, get that fat off. And my mind is, what's keeping this on? What's keeping this attached? And oh yeah, make sure you cut that bone or that thing, because then that unlocks this thing that then it can pull right out, or it could. And I'm just like, this is intricate. This is not haphazard. This is not chaos. This is specifically and meticulously designed.
Yep.
And that was just reinforced. But to see it up close, man, was huge. And then number 5 is, how do I phrase this? If you want to experience, I don't know, someone say joy or true beauty, or I don't know, fulfillment, something like that, it's on the other side of messy.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side of messy. And what I mean by that is like killing a deer, tracking a deer, gutting a deer, skinning a deer. It's messy.
Yeah.
It's messy as heck. But you don't get you don't get the trophy. You don't get you got to cut that off if you want to take that home. You got to cut this up if you want to eat this. You got to drain this blood. You got to pull these guts out if you don't want it to ruin your meat. You know what I mean? All this stuff, that watching my kids smile and my wife smile when I bring this meat home, that was all on the other side of, but Dad was in some messy stuff. And it almost, again, reinforces, like, even in life, like, it's on the other side of messy.
Yeah.
And like in everything, you think about a woman giving birth, or just, you get through this messy, you're going to really be able to enjoy what's on the other side of that thing. So don't be afraid of the messy. They almost kind of go hand in hand. If you really want to enjoy what's on the other side, I was really glad. Like, we've been eating the venison now since we got it. We've loved it. We've had it all different kind of ways. Even, I'm from Haitian background. Even my parents, like, they're like, we'll give it a go. We'll cook this up in the way that we would. The Haitian people eat a lot of goat, and they're like, we'll make it work. I mean, my buddy, he was telling me butcher it. He said this. He said, I've never used this much of a deer ever. We took it all, neck, cutting up the shanks, because that's the cuts that Haitian people eat. I mean, we took all of it, of it, ground. And so it's been cool, man. It's great. Yeah, we've been enjoying it.
Man, I love to get to watch you through this, and I'm so glad I got to be a part of it. So
yeah,
I'm so glad you agreed to come on this. I started, it's almost a year old. This podcast's almost a year old.
I remember talking about it on our first hunt, dude.
Yeah. It was a long time in the works, but I finally pulled the trigger. So I'm glad you got to come on here, man. It's been really fun to catch up and get to hear your stories and experience it with you. So thanks, dude. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, man.
Hey, where can people find you?
Hey, well, online.
If you want them to find you anyway.
Yeah, online, Instagram, Mr.Marcelin. And then, hey, on a Sunday morning, if you're in the PA area, GT Church, West Lawn, Pennsylvania, leading worship, and I'm not hard to find.
You heard it. All right. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it.
Aaron, thanks for the time, man.
Well, that's a wrap, everyone. Thanks for listening to Dan and I just kind of reminisce and reflect and have a good time, just remembering some funny stories. Thanks again so much for listening week after week. It means so much. If you could leave me a 5-star review and a rating, I want to hear from you. It's InCamp_podcast on Instagram. You can follow along with what we've got going on at the show. It's InCampPodcast@gmail.com. If you want to email me any suggested topics or suggestions, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks again so much. It really means a lot that you guys follow along and listen. I hope you have an awesome time being snowed in with your family and that you're all safe. I am probably currently at the hospital working, so enjoy it. This is InCamp Podcast.